So just before we start this podcast, I'd like to say a huge thanks again to Mark Pitcher at smashthebox.me. Mark has been a long-time friend and also been on the podcast to tell his story about leaving corporate life and following his dream and his purpose, which has been Smash the Box. Smash the Box is a new way for you to train, motivate and inspire your staff. So by hiring Mark, you'll be improving your culture and really giving back something to your teams that will help them in their daily roles and their daily life. Mark has a really refreshing approach in terms of how people can actually find their purpose, their personal purpose and their business purpose. And it will make your culture a much stronger and much more aerodynamic organisation. You can experience Smash the Box in 3 ways. You can have a workshop with Mark who can train your GMs and your AGMs, etc., all the way through to your rising stars and teach them things like how to become an amazing leader, how to find purpose and fulfillment in the work, and also the power of positivity, all about that positive mental attitude. You can also get one-to-one coaching with Mark, whether you're an executive or for your teams, and again, really helping light that inner spark that's in all of us. Also, Mark is an amazing keynote speaker, whether you'd like to get him for your event. He's also an amazing warm-up act for any cold rooms that's maybe about to get serious, but also a great keynote speaker in his own right for you to hire him to come in and inspire all of your teams and colleagues. You can get a taster of Mark every single morning on Smash the Box Facebook Live. That's 7:45 every single morning on Facebook. Mark has a daily morning dose of inspiration for everyone, and he's building quite a sizable positive community on there. Definitely try and check that out. Also, please do get in touch with Mark at smashthebox.me or follow Mark Pitcher and Smash the Box on LinkedIn. From We Are Spectacular, this is a Spectacular Marketing Podcast, a podcast about everything brand, marketing, digital and social for the food, drink and hospitality industry and beyond. So I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and you're looking forward to all of the things that 2019 will bring. I'm just out and about on a brisk walk down at Brighton Seafront and really just reflecting on last year, and that's what today's podcast is going to do also. It's part 2 of our drunk cast with Mark Stretton from Fleet Street Communications and Mark Wingett, who's the outgoing editor of MCA. So lots of great opportunities for Mark Wingett this year as well. So he'll find himself in some new exciting projects and roles, so wish him all the best with that too. So in terms of the drunk cast, hopefully you got a flavour of where it was going in part 1. Part 2, we focus a little bit more on marketing and a little bit more on the brighter side of things towards the end of the year. So hopefully it's a little bit more uplifting than maybe some of the bad news with CVAs and things like that in the first part. Also a huge thanks to Fuller's and Beautiful Bedrooms. We broadcasted from the Hand and Flower pub just next to Olympia, so thanks to Nick and the team for arranging that for us. So I hope you really enjoy this episode. It's going to hopefully springboard some thoughts of what we can all do better and look forward to a brighter 2019. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the flip side. Part 2. So we left it at Pubs 5, Restaurants 1.
And it gives you the most amount of pleasure ever.
Well, it did in the first part. There was in the will to live. We went for a little break there, and we had some fabulous fish boards and onion rings and some good stuff on it.
Thank you, Fuller's.
Yeah.
Thank you, me, I paid for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, we are spectacular.
Yeah, there you go. We've also had a few more drinkies, so if it gets a bit silly, apologies, but yeah. Right, so July, what's going on?
Well, Leon's pop up, pop down.
Yeah, and I liked that phrase. I'm sad for them. Was there any official comment on why or what happened, or it was just a trial, or what?
I think you can probably get over it and say it's probably just a trial. They said they would look at it to put it into different locations, but that has yet to happen.
Yep.
So I think we probably can say that's been kicked into the long grass.
Lemongrass. But I think also, in terms of tough trading period for the restaurants, because it was a long, hot summer. When it's those types of temperatures, guess what? You're not going to be going to shopping centres or sitting inside. Or
You're not going to be going to Toby Carvery.
Yeah, you're going to need outdoor seating. And
who knew that England would actually do well?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So Boxpark in Croydon, the Cronks, as it's known, became the capital of football.
Yeah, it did.
So good old Roger and all that. And what he was saying was, which was pretty cool, was people were buying 2 pints,
That's
one
right.
to drink, one to throw.
One to throw when we scored.
But he was smart, right? And what he said to me, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, was when something like that is happening and it's almost more than you can control, then just you almost let the reins go and just let it happen. And I think the smartest thing that he and the team did there was just inviting every possible news crew down, and at each corner you almost had it all being filmed. And I think initially the channels came down, then I think laterally he actually did it and then syndicated it to them.
That's right.
Which I think was really clever.
Yeah.
But that moment of that happening and the goals going in and just the beer spray.
Well, it kind of expected then when you actually would say, "We'll now go to here, here, and here." It was who's the best reaction.
It was that penalty. It was that penalty shootout, wasn't it? When we looked like we were going out.
Colombia,
and then against Colombia, yeah, and then we went through. Sorry, yeah, we went through. Sorry to leave you out this, Mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. It did become sort of the picture and the video that everyone shared, in the days after that. It was amazing.
No, and it went super. I can't even quote the numbers now, but it was millions of views. I mean, it just went incredibly crazy. So no, that was an unexpected sort of nice one, which I think was pretty cool. So then, other news in terms of Deloitte swooped in as the administrators for Gaucho, and again back to that wonderful Hawksmoor story of being the champions when it was all going down. But I'll be really interested to see what Martin does, going back in there. I mean, I don't know him as such, I only know of him and I've heard great things, but I'm interested to see what he'll do.
I think there's some easy wins in terms of, cutting down the head office, getting people back out into, I think he's keen to get some of the key head office people back into the restaurants, so they're based in the restaurants.
Yeah.
I think, we said before, there's some great sites there. So he's got some great sites to work with. How he blends that with M will be interesting.
But why is M working, and what can he add from M to G? What's going on?
I think it's more an inclusive offer rather than just pure steak offer. Mm-hmm. We talked about Brewdog and dogs. Mm-hmm. They do a very good dog offer for. He plays the media very well. I think he's in with the London press extremely well.
Very active.
And it's quite actually interesting going looking at July on the list we've made is the fact that we've talked about a CVA for a restaurant, and then literally that same week you have Stonegate making 2, I would say, significant acquisitions. You've got Be At One, the leading cocktail chain in the brandy cocktail chain in the UK being bought. I mean, it's been on the cards for a while. They looked at it, I think, the year before. It didn't quite work out because I think distracted by looking at Revolution. Came back, still a great business. A really good. The founders did an amazing job on that business. And then picking up 15 sites from Novus, which they can now use to either their own brands they've already got or actually use to convert into Be At Ones. I mean, it's just, again, another good business that knows how to do things and it goes against the grain. High street, wet lead.
Yeah.
It's probably got that market to itself at the moment.
And then, sort of moving into August, the one I forgot about, which I can't believe, was Coca Cola buying Costa.
That is a game changer, isn't it?
I just completely forgotten until I read through your list.
But all those great tweets of people taking pictures of Costa with Pepsi.
With Pepsi,
Pepsi on the counter.
Or was it?
Yeah.
I think, I tweeted that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, I was just about like...
Mark, I don't want to set you up for anything there, but, come on.
It was... Well, to be fair to them, the deal wasn't through at that point, I don't think. But at the same time, you're just a bit like, come on,
It goes back to those Whitbread days where, Britvic used to be... I think it was 25% owned by Britvic, by Whitbread, and they've always historically listed those products, and that's all going to change, obviously.
It was just quite comical. It was just when you walked in, you're like, come on.
Manager's there just going, what?
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see. And any thoughts on that? I mean, I think Coca-Cola's response was a good one, saying, look, it's really going to be hard for us to grow in the fizzy drinks sector alone, and we're going to have to branch out into these other kind of growing areas. Diversity of product that you talked about in the last podcast was, diversity of offering. And then interesting stuff as well with the vaping cannabis culture coming in as well.
Yeah, totally.
And Coke looking at
but it is a bit
cannabis
like,
products.
I mean, whether they buy a cannabis industries related business or not, it is almost a bit like the drinks group, the alcoholic drinks groups buying cannabis related businesses. So if you think about Constellation buying into Canopy, the big, I think they paid something like $4 billion for that business. Or it's almost a bit like Shell or BP buying into a kind of new clean energy business, or buying Tesla or something like that. You've got this business which has been built on sugary fizzy drinks, which refreshment, which are obviously in decline, and then swooping in and going for something like Costa. It's
still though, Coke, I mean, in terms of America, like, having just come back from there, people at breakfast with
having Coke.
24 ounce pint glasses of Coke with a breakfast. And then also, like when you go to Tokyo or whatever, or a lot of these significant airports, when I went into Disney yesterday, first thing you see, the first branded sign you see is Coca-Cola, interestingly in Disney colours. So it was all like kind of like teals and yellows, but it was the first thing. So they've still got.
They've got a bit of a foothold.
Significant, yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to see what Coca-Cola do with Costa internationally, because I think we all know that you look at the last kind of 6 months to a year's results for Costa here, there was a slowdown on the UK high street, and it was coming under pressure from, as everyone's coming with artisan brands or more craft or more independent, so it'll be interesting what they do internationally with it, because I think that's the big play for them.
Well, they'll have to stop Iron Brew in Scotland, of course, which could be a difficult point for them, because I think there's only 2 markets in the world that Coke aren't number one, and it's one Scotland with Iron Brew, and I think the second one's Red Bull in Austria.
So Iron Brew's still ahead of Coke in Scotland. That's amazing.
Mother's milk, very good. So a couple of other things then going down the list. I'm just trying to see, you've got a lot in here. What about Uber and Deliveroo and all these nearly deals?
I quite find it funny, because there was a report about Amazon pulling out from delivery, and I think one of us tweeted, I think it was Mr. Stretton actually, tweeted, he was kind of being unsubtle, but they pull out of delivery. Maybe they're buying someone. I think
their own delivery.
I think it's a consolidation play there. I think Deliveroo is like any tech company, which it is. There's a lot of money having to go in one end as it goes out the other end quite at the same time. I mean, you could do a whole podcast on delivery and Deliveroo.
We should.
And how I think David Strauss. I think James Haycom mentioned it on one of your podcasts. How David Strauss, when he was at Burger Lobson, said it's probably the biggest Trojan horse this sector's ever seen. It's got all the data now. I think even this morning there was reports in Hong Kong. It's doing its own restaurant. I think Pizza Express have got a pasta concept going in there. It's got all your data, and it's kind of like the new drug. You can't get off it because it makes up a lot of people's like-for-like sales. But you also know that if you know that they know that you do a very good burrito in that area or that town, they will now on their dark kitchen do a virtual brand that does burritos. And they've got the data. It's like the Tesco Club Card. Yeah, they know the data, but you can't get off them. You need them.
No, for sure. But I think if you are Tortilla, who I love dearly, or Chilango, who I love even more dearly, I think brand would give you the edge to then be the choice. So it feels like what the dark kitchens might be doing is more like it's untested, untrusted. It's almost like Waitrose Essentials or Tesco Value, or it's a white label, black label brand. I
kind of get that, but I think it's hard for the established brands to fight back. They can do their own virtual brands. They can, but it's not so much the data. I think you can replicate the data and the especially replicate the tech. 'Cause people are trying. Nando's, KFC are doing their own white label stuff. I think it's the logistics. Why you talk about Domino's? Why is Domino's so good? It's not food; it's a logistics company. And what Deliveroo can do over everyone else is the riders. And that's why we thought, Just Eat maybe could compete, but they've got the tech. They have not got the riders.
But this is going back to the Gary Vaynerchuk podcast where he was basically saying, like, I saw the Deliveroo guy get booed when he went up on stage. And I used to get it when I was at lastminute.com. So if I went to like a hotels or a holiday conference or whatever, and I said, hi, from lastminute.com, it was like boo, or, real crossed arms, and, But I think it has to be embraced.
It's
but
a fractious relationship, isn't it?
But you've just got to figure out how can it work for you, and investigate that, and because people are just adding it on and then going, oh, it didn't work, or I don't think they're making the most of it.
You've got to run with it, haven't you?
I think it's here, last mile delivery.
I think the thing which fries people's brains is the fact that you're not in charge of your brand, or you're handing over the delivery of and then the kind of stewardship of your brand to someone else.
But then brewers have been like that forever.
Yeah.
If you think about Guinness, that was the classic example that we always had at marketing at university, which was you give over your barrels or your kegs or casks or whatever it's in. If the landlady or the landlord is a shit,
that can go wrong.
And your pipes are rusty or whatever, and it comes in a Foster's glass, which is a criminal offence. Then.
But I think that's why people are. A lot of operators, not all, but a lot have taken the time and the care to actually think about, okay, how do we de-risk this, or how do we make sure our food reaches that front door in absolute tip-top condition?
Well, I think the cleverer operators are thinking like that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of operators out there who just aren't.
I mean, chips is the classic, isn't it? How do you make chips be good after 20 minutes or 30 minutes on the back of a bike? That's...
But I also think...
Felt like a set-up to a joke there.
Sorry, no punchline.
Poncherello, I think it's also, there's people who've done it well. I think, Azuri Group have been very good about doing their own packaging, but also the way
What's
they've done...
Azuri? Zizi and stuff?
Zizi and us.
Right.
And they've got their own cutlery.
Zizi's
Instagram.
excellent.
I hate the word Instagrammable, but they've upped their game.
Can I just stop you? It's grammable with a little... apostrophe.
Do it for the gram.
I hate it even more now.
Do it for the gram.
Now that he's said that.
I'm going to get my t-shirt saying do it for the gram.
But also I think it's interesting how you incentivise your manager of your site if he's looking at his like-for-like growth and it's still hitting target, but actually you've got no one in your site because it's all coming from delivery. I think there's a disconnect there that people have to get their head around.
I think you have to be good at both,
and also,
but I think you do. But we'll come on to talk about Wagamama and the TRG deal later. And they're buying something that's doing like for likes at 12% in their loss. How much is that delivery?
But it's that is the way it is. I mean, if you talk to someone like Moss at Las Iguanas, his thing is this makes everything more complex. This, may not be universally embraced at site level, but actually, if you look at the volume this is bringing, incremental, we are winning like-for-like growth, and we need to be really thankful. And it's a big deal, and you have to embrace it. I think the other thing is operators are starting to recognise what part of their menu they offer out for delivery, and what they don't, because some of it just doesn't work.
They've become a lot more sophisticated, and a lot more clever. I'm just saying, I think the balance of power still lies with the Deliveroo.
And that's troubling, isn't it? That's troubling for a lot of operators.
Like, back to the Gary Vee stuff.
Yeah.
You were caught napping.
No.
Operators out there.
I think the Gary Vee thing. I mean, you know how I feel about Gary Vee. Love a bit of Gary Vee, but I think
who's Gary Vee?
Who's Mark Dublin?
Touche.
I get what he's saying also, but I think some of the resentment, maybe not so much about Deliveroo, but we talked about Amazon and Google, and there's a kind of, and Charlie, you touched on it with Charlie in his podcast. It's about, if you're a big business, you've also got to be a good sort of corporate citizen. You've got to pay your fair share,
and that's fair. And
that needs addressing. That is causing.
However, I think a lot of people are spending an inordinate amount of time lobbying to blame other people, when actually they could spend more time proactively marketing their own business or making their product better,
running
or thinking about their running with.
But it's an easy thing, isn't it? You do the blame culture before you actually look at yourself.
And I think it always has got to start with you. It's got to, because if you lobby to government and all that, it could take 6 years. You'll be dead by then.
And I think I think having delivery should be part of your arsenal, and if you use it right, like Mark says, incremental, builds up the portfolio. You can see which parts of your menu, you can play around with that. You can see what's working, what's not. I think
super difficult for like pasta brands though, and stuff like this. Because if you're not travelized, to use an Americanism, it is tough. I can understand, but then there's incredibly smart things like Chris Fung, investing in pasta evangelists and things like that, and then it takes you into a whole new category. So can you imagine if you got a Wagamama box through? I'd pay for that. Or if I got a Nando's box through, I think people, they've got to start thinking laterally. This bricks and mortar, 4 walls and the estate, it's going to run out. The game's going to be up at some point, the way people are living their life. So start now. And then other things.
But Mark, you've already seen it. We mentioned that Nando's got Nando's Nino, which is Nando's Nino, which they launched at the start of the year.
There's one of those near me. Yeah, it's really
which
good.
is very much smaller format aimed at delivery. So they dial up other delivery.
Cool.
There's a bit of eating, but primarily it's sort of counter style.
And Meat Liquor did it with their East Dulwich. Like they actually made the kitchen more accessible to be made for delivery. And I think people are working around how they do bricks and mortar, and I think we'll see. That's what amazes me when we talk about. There was another panel this year about saving the high street, but they didn't get the right. Still didn't get the right for me people on it.
Yeah.
Where was Deliveroo on that panel? They are going to mould the high street of the future. We're going to have delivery editions on a high street. We're going to have that as like, this is the front, and at the back is where we're doing all the stuff.
Yeah.
You might come and sit at the kitchen and wait for your order and have a bit of food and try our new menu.
Well, there's a smart operator on our high street. So we live one road out of a nice bit of Brighton, so we're in the shitty bit. But up on Boundary Road, there's actually a shop that's called Food.app, and it's just gearing up to be delivery. It's quite forward thinking. For a wee high street that's quite a few roads out of Main.
It's Brian for you.
It's clever, it's really smart. Just back to Meat Liquor, by the way, just got to say how well they've done marketing wise this year, on social media. Like when I've done any of my speeches or any of the boot camp things that we do, and I do with Alison at Avocado, they brought in a social media influencer called Rosie from Brighton. And it was such a clever move, and she just lives on Instagram stories, and so when they did the walkabout stuff, and when they then hooked up with the chili pickle in Brighton, and just the amplification, they just knew the target audience and they just majored there, and it was so smart, from that point of view. But again, Meat Liquor to bits, and I'm really sorry to hear one of them's closing, isn't it?
It's the first one, I think.
Well, that's a property thing now, isn't it?
It's just such a shame, though.
They're taking it back.
They're taking it back and redeveloping.
It's going to be because that used to be Playboy Club, didn't it?
Yeah.
And they're making a hotel. It was a stunning looking structure. But yeah, I'm just sad for them on that. But yeah, I just had to do a shout because I think they've just done so well this year. Right, what else we got? So Iberdaroo, bad stuff with Pret. So tragic death of that 15-year-old lady, and whichever way you look at it, just tragic for everyone involved. And I think having known most of the people that work there and do that stuff, it's just because I know the lengths that they go to internally to make things right. And I think it's just been a warning shot for all of us to just make sure that we take these things seriously, but probably don't want to delve into it too much, but just saying, just sorry for everyone involved. It's just a sad day for the industry, but hopefully we'll come out of it and fix stuff, and it'll make things better.
I think it's obvious to say it's a huge wake-up call, and the industry's got to respond. From what I can see, the industry is responding.
Well, yeah. And then October, Mr. Garud steps down, CEO at Bills, so not a hugely long tenure there. Have to say a couple of cool things though. I think his LinkedIn presence was quite incredible.
It was good, wasn't it?
Huge engagement,
Yeah.
long form, which is
Yeah.
a lesson for anyone listening. You don't have to just go for the couple of proper long
He was
form
writing
that
essays,
people
wasn't
read.
he? Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, lots of people liking his stuff. The subtext of that is, please let me work with you. I'm a builder or whatever.
Endorse.
Yeah, and including me. But so I think from that point of view, that's fine. However, a couple of cool things as well. Really liked the frog at Soho. I thought that was really cool. He put like this kissing frog thing,
Yeah.
or you kiss it on the nose or whatever. What do you call it? A beak, mouth, whatever. So that was great. I thought just something talkable, and especially with that being like quite a touristy site, and there's something in the ether there. Very different look with the orange and bills written in a very different way.
There was a bit of Soho House influence, I thought, in the Brewer Street one.
I think Soho House, Ivy, there's a bit of an
Definitely.
homogenisation
Yeah.
there, which needs
Well, you can
to
see
maybe
that
be looked
David,
at.
who was coming on
Yeah.
board as the exec chairman, obviously consultant, non-exec at Soho House.
There's a bit of a crossover in some decor aspects, I think, between the Ivy and,
Yeah.
and Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Which I probably need to dial back on. But
yeah, probably a bit of delineation. But the other thing I thought was really good was the hoarding that went up before Bills opened. So they took influence from two things. We used this in social media stuff. So there was two things. One was, I think it was something in Sri Lanka and then maybe something in Mexico. And there was this sort of fad for graffiti walls just having two like beautiful wings drawn up. So whether it was an angel
Yeah.
or a butterfly or whatnot.
Or an owl.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe not an owl. But everything except what you said. So there was all that, and then so basically someone just poses in front of it, and then it looks, and it was just really good to see some inspiration from Insta went straight through to a marketing campaign, and lots of people did it. And I think the nice thing as well was it didn't say, take your picture here and tweet Bills, and it was just a lot more subtle than that. And I think
why
if
don't
you're
people?
trying
Why don't
too
more
hard,
people do that? It just seems like.
they're just busy keeping their,
Yeah.
like literally busy keeping their jobs.
Yeah,
Head
those,
above
those
water.
hoardings are up for a few months,
Yep.
aren't they? You got
We used to
it's
do
real
it,
estate, isn't it?
So what we always used to do was the Tokyo crazy stuff linked with the city we were opening in.
Yeah,
And it was this kind of mad sort of scene, like if you're opening Newcastle, it'd be all these kind of really hyper real, spacey sort of Japanese people, and then it was like smashed with Angel of the North and
Shira.
the Viz and people with no jackets on, pretty much. So it was that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it was super fab. I think the problem is under resourced in marketing general.
yeah.
Under budgeted in marketing in general, because it's still such an operator led industry. I think the talent that we have in the industry is not always disciplined. So they've maybe, it's their first job, or they've been really good in restaurants and shown some kind of signs of, but they've not had the time, or they've maybe not went through the discipline of marketing.
Yeah.
They've maybe
Don't have that
kind of
structure.
fell into it. And don't get me wrong, everyone's trying really hard and everyone's doing the best that they can, but I think but then the trouble lately, actually there was a trend this year as well, where a few brands, which will remain nameless, brought people in who were big marketers from all the best companies in the world, and they did not last long one bit. And even as an agency, we clashed with them really hard because
Why was that?
which bit?
Why could they not make that?
Because they're used to big teams, big budgets, and the big ad campaigns, and it's what Robin Rowland would have termed armchair marketing. And the other thing is they're coming in with not much digital nous either. So
That's
they're coming in
interesting.
classically trained from FMCG, big brands, all the rest of it. So they want a orchestra of agencies, right? Whereas in our game, as you know now, and when I was at lastminute.com, our budget was like 23 million quid, right? And then I went from there to Barclaycard, which was a bit less maybe, and then went to Yo, which was under 300 grand, right? And I think that teaches you the metal, you know, it
Got to be a
tests
bit more
your
of a
metal.
street fighter. and
Oh,
a bit
total
more
street
of a-
fighting.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
for 10 quid, what can I do? For 50 quid, what? And you're not going to get this orchestra of agencies that's giving you biscuits and media planning for you. And, you know, you've got one shot on maybe one thing, and that you'll probably get a PR agency because the CEO will think PR's still a good idea. Get a social agency is going to be probably quite tough, you know, in terms of that. And it's either going to be you or a team of two running 60, 70, 80 sites. And you're just trying your best to, you know, sort of, as you said, Mark, you know, just to head above water. So it's a bit of a sort of poisoned cocktail, you know, in terms of that. So it's really tough, and it's stuff that we talk about in the social boot camp, you know, and we actually ask the audience, you know, what are your main frustrations, and that's what comes out. I feel underdeveloped. I feel that I don't have the support of the board. I feel that I don't know enough about digital and all these types of things. So it's a bit of a heady mix at the moment, and I hope we'll get over that. But
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about the industry being such an operator-led industry still, and that is true, isn't it? It's sort of
Totally.
operator is king, and you know you can understand why, but there is definitely a need to just get a bit more structured and a bit more sophisticated in the way we approach.
Well, I think sales will help you today, tomorrow. Brand will help you for years, and
Yeah.
I think you've got to do a bit of both. And I think what people, they go knee jerk. You know, sales in Portsmouth was down yesterday. What are you
can we
doing
do?
about it?
Yeah, fix it.
I think there's a holistic approach. You know, where you've got to look at everything in the round.
I don't think people have got, especially this year, I don't think people have had time.
True, that's fair.
Been fighting fires for a few.
But you've got to you've got to figure out who's got to fight the immediate fires and who's building the business. And I think you've got to have a few people that are holding the longer term.
But I suppose if you've got to a point where you're doing a CVA, it's very hard to do that longer term look because you've got to focus on the here and now.
But if you're doing
Because there
a
might not be
CVA
a longer term look.
But then if you're doing a CVA, sites are still going to be there, right? You're not just packing it all in.
Yeah, but you might be, I think we said it earlier, the stigma of that CVA, you might be losing staff. You now got staff that can go, I'm just going to walk across the road, go somewhere else.
But then,
Because I don't know if my site is going to be one of the ones that's kept on.
But the role of the marketer, then, you know, let's say, what's the marketer's part in that, for example?
I think that
Comms, internal comms, external comms is a huge part
Yeah.
of a CVA, and making sure it lands properly with the teams. And it's one of those classic ones where you think you're communicating enough, and then you've got to go and communicate some more, and just make sure that
constant reassurance.
constant reassurance. I think it's really interesting because a lot of people are going back to that, you know, fighting the day to day, and then thinking longer term and how you're actually building your story and building your brand. And a lot of people are just in firefighting mode, aren't they? And it's like you say, this day part isn't working, or breakfast isn't working, or lunch covers are down, or this site isn't firing. Help us fix it. It's kind of that problem solving, firefighting, marketing or comms or whatever it is, rather than you know. I think there is a huge risk for some operators that they ignore that longer term brand building work that is sometimes less easy to measure.
I think it is both. I mean, it's you know, all that stuff about Nike. When was the last time you saw a Nike ad that was selling to you?
Yeah,
But also,
Never.
yeah, but I think that's a really, in my world, that's a really interesting thing about selling. And I think we're going from, it's a huge generalisation, but we're moving from, you know, ads and marketing and comms, which talks about products and stuff, to things which talk about purpose and that sort of emotional storytelling, and you know why you should form a deeper connection with us.
And you know the biggest problem? 98% of brands have no purpose apart from a self-sufficient corporate.
There's a really
commercial one.
interesting article I saw. I think it was this morning actually in the FT, talking about how a lot of consumers.
I'm just flicking back to me in the plane reading the Viz Christmas special as you're reading the FT.
I try not to make a habit of it.
Yeah.
But and they were saying a lot of consumers view corporations and businesses as sociopathic. You know, they're just purely self-interested, and it's about making money, and you know that is just terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to get more about purpose and meaning, and
because that's what the millennial and centennial audience, as customers and employees, want to hear.
Yeah, we're into
what's the legacy.
Yeah, we're into human conversations and communications, and we've got to be positioning ourselves as human beings, and we've got to, you know, adopt that language. And
then the easy one I'm hearing, it's quite funny how you go through. So, you know, years ago it was design my menu boards, and I want to look like Pret, or I want to look like Etsu, basically, right?
Yeah.
So there are all these trends. So the latest one is, how can we be Tom's shoes? Right? It's like everything, and you're like, well, you can't, because you've got to mean it. You know, you can't just, you know, buy a steak and someone gets a free steak. You know, just. And so, to your point though about, is it dinner or is it this or is it that? My advice always I find myself saying on the phone all the time is, breathe, take a step back from the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because you're getting prescriptive. You know, if you're just going, I want to do that, I think it's usually better looking at everything in the round.
Yeah.
And if your brand is a salad shop, it's going to be bloody hard to become a dinner occasion, and it's going to be harder to be a breakfast occasion.
But picking up Mark's point about having a purpose and your point about employees and consumers. So I think I made the point at the start of the year, there's almost like you make a football analogy, the top four pull away, and then you've got like a middle ground, the smaller teams that can actually have that culture that's already built up by doing more. So I think Alchemists have got that act of kindness thing, where they pay people to actually go out and do a charity, because there's a generation who want that on their CV. I work for this company because I get to do that. And then you get the top league, the Nando's, the Pret, the Wagamama, who've already had that in their culture. It's always been there, and they can build on it. They've had time. The sales are there. Yeah. They can take the time. They can take that long-term view.
Started with it, you know.
But they've also can take that because they've started with, because it's inbuilt. They've got the time to go, right, I want you to have a look at long-term view for a year. Yeah. Whereas every one of the other people we've mentioned, like Mark said, are firefighting. Yeah. They haven't got the time to take the long-term view. So that gap grows and grows, and they can't. That gap, they found it hard to bridge. You know, how do you
haves and the have-nots.
How do you then retrofit a culture, which you shouldn't do? Yeah. How do you then retrofit a culture into a business? Yeah.
Well, I think
culture is massive as well.
But that's what I mean. If you have a purpose, you have an identity, and when people want to get involved, and it's not just about, you word of mouth used to be great. You go down word of mouth. Why do you work for that? Well, I work there because they let me do this. Yeah. I can do that. Yeah. But also, I love working there. I mean, talking to Nando's, and they go and I think they had a meeting with their general managers the other day, and it was like 43 general managers. Why do you work here? No, seriously, why do you work here? We love working here. Huh? We love working here. And then they go and tell other people we love working here. And they build that culture and have that long-term, 10 years of working at Nando's.
But I think it's people, sadly, it is people just getting found out. And it's back to the Bible and parable days. If you've built your house on rocky ground...
Oh, yeah.
But we are, it feels like we're on
Are we going to talk about Patisserie Valerie?
Yeah. Oh, well.
It feels like we're on a bit of a soapbox. It feels good.
Yeah.
But it kind of, that is everything, isn't it? It's like you have to have a culture. You have to have meaning and purpose. Your people have to really believe it and buy into it. And you can't try and con that stuff. You can't try and retrofit. It has to be real, because otherwise people smell it. Your people smell it. Your customers, authenticity.
But it's stuff we were talking about earlier on, in the other podcast, which is just, some people have just built their businesses wrongly. Because they've not built it with the long term in mind.
So how do they ever come back? That's the point.
That's their problem, because they've started a business. They're just flawed business people. Or they've flipped it too hard, or they've expanded too much. And I think that's why we're seeing the ones with the genuine authenticity, spirit, something so different that's coming through. There'll be a few also-rans that will stick around for years, and that's fine.
But Mark, I think the sad thing is actually, the point you can make about the current environment, and actually I think it's going to get worse, is the fact that I think there's brands that tick a lot of the boxes we've been talking about, and yet have still hit a wall. That's what scares me. I think Living Ventures. I love Living Ventures. I think Living Ventures are fantastic. The ethos, what's come out of that business, and Paul and Jeremy and everything up there, they just do it right. They got the way they do stuff is fantastic. Hospitality is inbred in what they do.
But what was the wall they hit then? What happened?
But I think, building talent, which was what their great thing was, finding concepts they could roll out. Even they are doing everything right and ticking every box and moving ahead and evolving and trying to be. That's what I worry about. There will be businesses that have done what we've said and had a culture will get wound up in everything we've seen and have to take some of the pain. And that's how tough the environment is, I think.
There's nothing easy in this market, is there? There's no easy wins.
But I think it's back to the ones that we were talking about that are more complacent. There's no real brand definition. They're resting on old laurels. They'll just keep turning the handle. The culture really isn't there. Yeah. The marketing is 10 years out of date. There's no social presence.
We've talked about. We were going to go and talk about GVK as one of the last CVAs. And we've talked about. I think for you guys with the marketing on the curry campaign.
Right. So the meeting I think would have went like this, which is. Right, we need to get some more sales and notoriety and all that.
This is the thing they did on Brick Lane, isn't it?
Yeah, so just, what was that really good thing? Oh yeah, we did the vegan campaign, and look, actually that was well timed, and if that was done today, it would have been even more shocking. But back then, it did go crazy, but from the meat eaters and the general public, it put them back on the map, and actually sales went up, and... I think they rode it quite well, whichever story you believe in how they rode it back. This one now was bordering on, which one was it?
Either racism or xenophobia.
It just felt, with no authenticity in Indianness or Indian food. Allegedly.
So they pitched up on Brick Lane and
they said, our curry's better than yours, or taste the real
burger.
Curry.
It was a lamb curry burger, wasn't it?
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the video, which is a 90-second clip, and it was just...
But I mean, I ticked the box in terms of going, notoriety, we're taking the thing, we're standing for... I can see it, I can see the meeting now.
But there's no way it should have seen the light of day, is there? It was just tone deaf.
It was misguided.
But I think if they hadn't done that and had those lines, I think the burger sounded good.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Popped them on a burger.
But that was missed. That was the fact that the burger sounded good or the burger was good, completely missed.
Yeah, it's just execution. But I think that vegan thing...
that was good.
That was it was pokey.
Yeah.
And
what, poke or pokey?
Pokey. Oh god, that's another trend. But yeah, I think it was pokey. It got the right amount of levels of thing. Funnily enough, I know the social guy that did it, and he said his phone was like as if he was Kim Kardashian with all the notifications, just like, grrr, and he hadn't like switched off his notifications, and it was like on
one level this is going well.
This is one of the best work I've ever done.
What But again, because there's a bit of myth of, we knew what we're doing, there's a bit of myth of we didn't really, but we managed to get out of it. And then again, as part of the year, then Alistair obviously moved from there and went across to a BK.
I think, I think I wrote a piece that's saying it's a whopper of an opportunity, to pardon the pun, but you've got
You're not pardoning the pun, you're really proud of that.
Yeah. But,
I think I wrote a piece that had the best headline ever.
Yeah. But it's the opportunity for something that, it's a win-win. If you don't do anything, you've not done anything, it's still Burger King, but you've got a brand that's got...
It's a juggernaut.
You've got some high street locations, you've got breakfast to go after, you've got marketing you can do, you get to get
chicken to go after.
You've got franchisees, you've got coffee... you've got a lot of things you could do.
They've got it all to do, though, haven't they? Because they've got, chronically is a bit excessive, but an underinvested estate, real lack of tech, no technological platform. They've got a fantastic product.
Which is actually a different burger than actually is on the market. It's there's a lot of wins there.
It's a good team there as well. You've got Alistair, you've got Martin Robinson, you've got Tim Doubleday.
You've got a private equity group in Bridgepoint, which are well known in the industry.
Yeah.
But just on that point, there was a couple of great things from Burger King this year in terms of marketing stuff. The first one was the
relaunch of their chicken
selfie thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was kind of neat. I mean, Alistair was in the videos.
But they're offering someone £20,000 to eat their chicken.
Yeah.
It was quite self-deprecating, wasn't it?
And so he was kind of in it, and he did well.
Yeah.
And
Is it
was
the same
the
supplier as
sort
KFC? You sure the chicken's going to be there?
well, I know certainly their burgers from a really good Irish supplier, but I can't remember about their chicken, not sure. But anyway, so basically, so you had to hold your hands up as if you were biting the chicken sandwich and then take your sort of chicken face. And what I was saying to you guys earlier was we were doing something similar for a spicy chicken brand, and we were really pleased with ourselves. And it was when you'd eaten this jerk chicken, so we were going to do a campaign that was called #jerkface. And basically,
bold.
We then, well, we were so pleased.
What would have been the responses to #jerkface?
I think it would have went viral.
Would it be the notification from Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, I think it would have went viral in the wrong way.
Yeah. After the watershed.
Yeah, I think so, or something, yeah. So I think, so that was a bad move, but we thought it was quite fun. And then the second thing, and this is, forgive me his name, Enrique, I think, who is the European or the global CMO, is just like this super, he's like the Messi of marketing, right? Just this superstar at the moment.
Messi of marketing.
Yeah, this is good. So basically he... it created with these agencies an app that then you could get a Whopper for $0.01.
Oh yeah.
Is this the one in the car park?
So you had to be in a McDonald's car park, order it, and then it would recognise that you were in a McDonald's car park, and then you drive to BK and get it. So
that's great.
The
isn't it?
Burger King app went from something like 225 to 224 to number one.
It's amazing.
Like straight away. So then, what about Pat Val?
My lawyers.
We could just leave the room there and let Mark go on about this.
Have we got any lawyers in the room?
Some wine? Can we get some wine for the Pat Val story? Because we had red wine.
I think it's just
that was extraordinary, wasn't it? That was completely
kind of biblical,
shocking.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah,
really.
And it still will run. I think they've only the tip of the iceberg at the moment with the investigation.
Do we understand exactly what happened? Basically,
I don't think I can say on record what the rumours are around what happened without getting in trouble. I think
there was a kind of
it was like misaccounting. Is all.
Yeah. I think the rumour, or what I've heard speculation, is there was two sets of accounts, and one was brought forward, and then it snowballed. They couldn't go back. The person who brought it forward couldn't go back on it, and it just escalated, and they were meant to be seen as the main accounts.
So they were projecting a performance which just wasn't real.
But no one knows how far back that goes. Was it before they floated? And then all this is built on sand.
But an astonishing business, though. In terms of...
Well, funny enough, everyone, it's one of those businesses where people go, how are they doing that level kind of thing? And I think, it's hard to comment on without having the full details.
Yeah.
And it's hard to conjecture without getting probably in trouble from what's saying. It's some of the stuff. On a certain humorous level, you've got someone who is done a lot. Luke's done a lot for the sector. Sure. You've got to remember that as one side over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been a champion for the sector. He's invested in the sector. He's brought a lot of concepts through.
And Pizza Express. Come on.
Yeah, well, not Pizza Express. From that leads other stuff. Strada and the like.
Giraffe.
Ego.
The Ivy and Signature
Draft House. Yeah. We've talked about. Grand Union.
Gill, small batch.
Yeah. It's a long list, isn't it?
So he's done a few.
Brilliant.
I think what was shocking was just to have that kind of lack of process and lack of rigour, and having one person who could seemingly, as you say, we don't know, but seemingly sort of mislead.
They used to make a big play about having a very small management team in a company that large. And I think the fact is, we've all dealt with Luke, we've all met Luke, and the fact that he's had to. I don't think anybody deserves to go through that, but he's had now to. I think having written his column, I think the timing of it, like 2 months beforehand, about how there's swindlers and stuff. gave every other journalist laissez-faire to use that against him. Even the Times.
He took a lot of flack.
He did a lot of flack. And then the fact he then had to go and sit in front of shareholders, and you got that classic line when the shareholder comes out. I think it was Don, I think Don Walsh was talking to shareholders either in the meeting when they came out of the meeting and said, he's quite arrogant, isn't he? And it was kind of like, there's a lot of operators going, well, come on, and sometimes you have a bit of that arrogancy to be in business. But it's... And then he had we talked about Jamie putting money in and people putting investment. He went out and went, you know what? I need to save this.
I will fix this.
And I think I said on Twitter, if you needed someone to save who was unemotive, clever, in the moment to do this, you would say Luke was the guy to go up there and put his money where his mouth is and do it and get it done.
It was a big gesture. And
it was a huge gesture.
I think when it happened, I don't think anyone would see him fail really. But, when he did that, I thought, just huge plaudits to you, because he could just have, done other things, walked away, looked for it somewhere else, whatever. But he, reached into his pocket. How much did he put in? 20?
Yeah.
I think
10 of his own.
10 and 10.
10 and 10.
He put 10 of his own in, and then he further loan.
And then he underwrote 10, didn't he? I think was the key thing.
I mean, that's a...
But you've got the FD who is obviously resigned and then arrested. So that process, we can't comment on that. The process will go on. The CEO has to resign.
Yeah.
Is he not resigned already?
He has. Yeah.
He has now.
So my point is, you either knew this was happening or you didn't. So you're asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
So you take that, or you take that hand or that hand. There's others. People have questioned, the head of the audit committee, who's the ex-FD of Domino's. What was he doing?
The auditors as well. They'll take a kicking. It's that it has been the season for.
It's a Sky News breaking story. Grant Thornton are no longer the auditors of Patisserie Valerie. Wow, really? Didn't see that coming. It's kind of
all those firms having a tough time. PwC, Grant Thornton. They seem to be under pressure.
And it had a knock-on effect. It's interesting. Gales obviously went through a process during the summer, and then they obviously leaked a message to the Press Association saying we won't do anything until after Brexit. And I was like, you're going to use Brexit as an excuse for not doing anything in the process. Nothing to do with the other bakery chain that your chairman has something to do with going through issues.
And also, I think
they've done really well this year, though. Gales
is a great product.
It's really nice. I used to work with a couple of people there at Pret, and just to see on her feed every single week there's another one up there, another one up there.
I think someone saw on Twitter, I think it was Richard Ferrier from Brasserie Blanc actually, who said what a great time to be a journalist in this sector, because there was just something happening every day. In the same month, I think we've got this down here, the same month that Patisserie Valerie started, we had the month before actually, the same month, October, you had the restaurant group coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
To be the
gig in town.
I think that's probably one of the ones to end on, really, isn't it? To talk about that.
I think I said earlier, it's kind of like the coolest kid in the playground being bought by the established prefect. Or being coming under the wing of the established prefect kind of thing, isn't it? It's like you're not the coolest kid anymore, and can the people who work for Wagamama now?
Will it matter?
It's.
They've bet the farm, haven't they?
I've said it was a play.
I've said no, but if you're Andy McHugh at TRG, you go, look, we can have a nibble around the edges, or we just go big. We do the Hail Mary pass, and it's great because he comes obviously from the bookies.
Yeah, gambling man.
So you've got all the headlines written for you, but you go, you know what? We'll buy the best. What's the best? Wagamama.
Yeah.
And actually, it's one of those back him or sack him kind of things, isn't it? When it came to it being agreed, if it wasn't, it didn't go through.
It was super close, though, right? It was closer than Brexit, was it?
I think he had on side all the big shareholders.
It got there. It wasn't absolute certainty, was it? But
I just think if Wagamama goes backwards, it's on his watch. It's because TRG, and no matter what, even if they don't touch it, that's what will happen. It's a big call. Because it's running so fast to those like for like.
Just adore Wag so much. It was funny. I was in.
That's my point. I think we talked at the time, and you say there's so much love for Wagamama, and then please don't screw it up.
Yeah. I just always wished I had worked there as well. If I'd done you, I always wished I'd also.
It's not too late. It's not too late, Mark.
Well, if all goes wrong, I'll get a real job again.
I think my problem with that is if there's a talent drain, if people start leaving. And also, if they get distracted, I know they've come out and said it's going to be an autonomous business, but you know what? If you've got that talent on board, you're telling me you won't go, can you just go and have a look at Frankie and Benny's and see what you can do with that?
And we hear it so many times. We've bought this business so that we can learn from it. This is going to be a meeting of the minds, or we're going to absorb everything we can. And actually, it's very difficult culturally to enable that to happen.
But is Costa and Coke not going to be similar? How's that going? It's even
I think
more
they're so
different.
They're so different.
They'll just have to let each other alone.
Yeah, they sort of almost coexist, don't they, and work out how they can.
But I told you what happened on Sunday at Wagamama, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yeah,
I was in with my family.
Yes, you saw a picture. Yeah,
and right in the middle of in a busy restaurant as well, there's one of the Wagamama team members eating Pizza Express with all the boxes. Like, it's just like all our boxes spread across. I was just like, oh, it was my wife that saw it. I was like, oh man, that's a great photo.
Yeah.
but you also remember that TRG are playing top price for this. Because I think, from what we hear, private equity was around about the 500 million mark. So that's, we weren't going above that. So they paid premium for this.
How much was it in the end?
559.
What was it, 14 times?
What does it make?
Or did it end up 9 times or something?
No, I think it was 14 times. It was
close to the print deal.
There was a few other big companies going, oh, maybe we should get on the market.
Yeah.
It's a gamble. There's some of the stuff that they say should work. Getting into delivery, concessions, Wagamama internationally. This thing about Wagamama converting Frankie and Benny sites into Wagamama, I would worry, because Wagamama's never been on a retail park. That's not to say it won't work.
Yeah.
But
you see it in cinema complexes in town.
It would work.
Oh, because you'd want to be quick.
Look, TRG was set on this. We're going to buy pubs, concessions, and then to throw the Hail Mary out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No one saw it coming. No one saw TRG as a suitor.
No.
So Frankie and Benny's talking about TRG, the app.
Yeah.
Good thing, bad thing, cheap PR story, cheap stunt.
In terms of encouraging diners to hand their phones in when they go to dine.
Where do we stand on this?
I like the idea. I like the idea, which was based on research, which I think from memory said that families aren't spending time together, or I think kids are getting frustrated with parents because they're always glued to their phones, and
unless the kids have got a phone.
Yeah, exactly, or on their Nintendo or whatever. Nice.
Granddad. Does that even exist anymore?
The Switch. I think it's a nice idea. I like the research. I think it was done by Ginger Comms, which is they're good at that sort of stuff. But I think in terms of the execution, I'm not sure.
I think it's a splitter. I'd be interested to see the two things: the immediate sales, sort of growth, and then the longer term, because I think the guys will feel that was an amazing PR hit and Christ, they were everywhere, and it was.
It did go well.
Yeah,
from that perspective.
I was in two camps. But I think the important thing is the follow up.
Yeah.
Whoop, and I'm not seeing any more follow up. So the thing is, if you do a hit like that, fine, but then
let's have some substance.
Then start championing for a year or more.
Yeah.
About the Great British Family Dinner or something like
Put
this.
Put your phones away, let's talk, whatever.
Yeah.
It's got to have more iterations, doesn't it? Yeah.
I was more tongue-in-cheek, I think I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Was for a brand that has been discounting quite heavily, as we've all seen over the last 12 months, 18 months.
Yeah.
You're now sat there going, let me just get my voucher for my phone.
Maybe that's why they did it.
That's a good idea.
I think that area around getting time back, getting quality time, putting the technology away, talking, conversation, family dining. There's something interesting in that.
So is that pretty much the year? So maybe winners and losers? Winners?
Well, I think the McCulloch podcast. Definitely a winner.
Yeah, no, we should definitely talk about the McCulloch podcast. Let's talk about the McCulloch.
Let's talk about you.
This has been spectacular.
This was spectacular.
No, it has been. No, joking aside, it's been brilliant. You should be very proud of yourself, sir.
No, it started, February, guys? Yeah, something like that. So, February, I had a chance meeting with Gaz through an amazing guy called Jeff Lloyd, who's used to be on Absolute Radio.
By the way, Gaz is sat at this table.
Gaz is sat here, and the audience know Gaz. And we just worked it out, and it was just like, let's not do it in our bedroom. We're in a bedroom at the moment.
I was going to say,
but,
we've come full circle.
But let's not do it, shitty, because there's so many ones that actually rate really highly, but they're just production quality's poor. So it was just like, let's get a proper producer, let's do it in a studio, and let's try and get good guests. And every single person that's been on has been special and amazing. Obviously some highlights, personally. I think Carolyn Ball at Gather and Gather, which isn't even out yet, that was phenomenal. Jonathan Wright at Red Carnation, Mark Pitcher, obviously you two. Mark Pitcher, Smash the Box.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, he was superb.
Yeah.
And thanks to him for sponsoring a few as well. Obviously, personal highlights for me being fanboy, Gary V and
that was amazing.
Who's Gary V?
and Norman Cook. Fatboy Slim was pretty special.
I think without wanting to make you blush, it's and obviously this episode excluded, it's a fantastic resource for the industry. And actually, for me personally, I wasn't, before you started doing this, and it was probably a time thing, and I hadn't just given it the proper attention, but I wasn't really into podcasts. And then I started listening to yours, and it kind of opened my eyes up to this whole thing.
Your ears.
My ears, I should say. Quite right, yeah. Good save. But well done.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's been, I think it's an amazing resource, and I know I certainly don't, I know a lot of my colleagues don't ever kind of miss it. We look out for it. 6 p.m. drop on a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's roughly 750 to 1,000 people, sometimes even 1,500 people per episode. Alison Battersby's one was the most listened to, I think, was the social media tip. So we're doing a 2019 one soon.
Okay. So what are your plans for it for next year? Just to keep building it and keep.
We've got a planning day in January to talk about all this stuff. I think.
Not to get us back next December.
Well, I think to do more video for sure. I think I'd like to do more presenting, maybe for other people's podcasts. So whether it's food magazines or whatnot, I don't know. But there's that sort of stuff. I think we've started straddling, interestingly, the divide between B2B and B2C. So especially with the Norman Cook one, that all of a sudden became something completely different.
Yeah.
There might be something in that.
That's quite interesting, isn't it?
And I think more music stuff, as well, trying to, on a personal note. Yeah. So, thank you very much. No, it's been good fun.
No, thank you.
So, a couple of things. So 2019, you're going to be...
I don't know. I think I'm waiting tables, actually. I've got a gig next year with
Wagamama.
With Wagamama, and Frankie Mennies.
So you've just come out of MCA.
Yeah.
8
years, man and boy. And then before that, 2 years working under a very good editor.
Peter Martin.
Yeah, Peter Martin.
Who's he?
Well, exactly. Just doing a bit of this and that, really.
Cool.
That lovely phrase of consulting, which is a kind of catch-all phrase.
Space?
Yeah, watch this space.
What about Fleet Street?
Just, you know how it is, Mark. Just trying to grow and keep clients happy and find a couple of new ones. Pay the bills. I think it is a really fascinating time for our industry, and we're going to be fighting the good fight. Trying to help people tell those stories and bring that kind of human element to the way businesses communicate with their audiences and do that storytelling piece and try and stay out of mischief.
Yeah. Well, on that point, Carlsberg glue cans.
Probably.
Probably.
That was good.
That was great.
Good PR hits on that.
Snap Pack. Yeah, no, love that. I think Carlsberg is a client of ours, and I love that business.
It's on the One Show, right?
Yeah, it was on the One Show, and so this is Snap Pack, where they've reduced all that plastic that goes around the top of your 4-pack or your 6-pack of cans to take home, with glue, which effectively binds the cans together and gets rid of a load of that plastic.
Yeah.
And that was one of about 7 betterments that they launched in Copenhagen in September. And
Betterments.
that's what they call them, betterments.
Lovely thing to say, yeah. That's what they say.
And that business, which has been going since 1847, and they have a fantastic heritage in brewing, but also in betterments and scientific research and open sharing their findings. And
Mark, is it the chairman or the founder or the CEO? I can't remember who talks about purely talks about water. And
so Fleming, who's the chairman, so he says Case, who's the CEO, Case Hart, his job is to do the 3 to 5 year strategy. My job is to be looking out 20, 25, 30 years. And he's
amazing talker, amazing speaker.
Yeah, he's a scientist by background, and he talks about how our main concern is water, because that is in 20 or 30 years what we're going to be concerned about. Urbanisation of society. We're all living in cities. Booming population. We're going to be 10 million people in 20 or 30 years' time, and these are the things we're looking at. And if we're making beer as an industry and as a society, is it acceptable to take 4 litres of water to make 1 litre of beer? No, it's not. Carlsberg have got it down to 2 litres of water to 1 litre of beer, but that needs to become 1 to 1. And how do we just look after resources better and drive yields and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
I think, Mark, when you talk about winners and losers, I flippantly say this, I think, every year in a feature I do at the start of January, but it's the consumer. This industry runs faster than it ever runs to get things across to the consumer, and the consumer has never had it so good in terms of the food.
So they're the winner or the loser?
I think they're the winner if they go to the right place,
Yeah.
and most of them, as you can tell by people who are losing in this sector, and the natural way things are going. The tech, the service, the food, the offer, how they get it, how we get it to people.
Yeah.
You talk about lounges when you walk in, within that much of the door opening, they're on it. The consumer's never had it so good. They won't tell you that. They won't understand that.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting point, isn't it? Because there's loads of challenges for the industry, but actually, when you look at the choice and just all this new stuff that's coming to the UK, we talked about Din Tai Fung in the last podcast, and there's I think Egg Slut is coming from America.
Sweet Chick.
That's going to be amazing. Sweet Chick. And just
the
whole food market stuff. It's just an amazing time.
It's faster. We don't appreciate it because we've got all this, like you say, this is not working, that's not working, that's gone. But you can go out now to even an average place and you see these people smiling, having a good time. You go, at the end of the day, they've come away, they've had a good time. That's what hospitality is about. And
then just before we go, I was thinking about the marketing highlights. If I'm selfish for me, and you might want to jump in, but there was some highlights and some lowlights actually. So when I was with Brewdog, we discussed the pink IPA instead of the punk.
I could see what they were trying to do.
It was great intention, just bad execution.
Yeah,
and it was just like it was a nice phrase from them as well, which was just like kind of like, sorry we fucked up that one. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
So I think that was quite a nice.
But you look at how many they've done. There was always going to be one.
Got to have a strike rate. Yeah, for sure. And then there was Brewdog TV, which was quite cool.
Yeah.
And then Brewdog Airlines, and all these things. And then looking at Murphy, isn't it over there?
Yeah.
Snoring actually, so that tells us something.
Yeah.
The
That's the pet dog,
subwoofer,
everyone.
beer for dogs.
Subwoofer.
I think the plastic thing was huge this year.
Yeah.
And I think the David Attenborough, just all plaudits to him and his team.
That was quite extraordinary, wasn't it?
For raising that for us, for our industry. And it made me slightly sad, just crossing the Atlantic there, which was still plastic straws, plastic glasses, plastic straws in paper, and then even on a BA flight and an American flight as well, on a 9.5 hour flight, I was given 4 plastic cups for me.
Yeah, just for you.
Just keep serving. I'm thinking we've got to change that.
Yeah, but that's had a big impact over here, isn't it, in terms of coffee, keep cups and water bottles and
all the shit you've got to carry around.
You're suddenly aware of it, all the stuff you have to carry around.
You look at Boston Tea Party, they've actually taken a hit on sales, but
I mean, I thought that was incredibly brave.
Very brave.
So that again, back to purpose.
Yeah.
Veganism, huge. William Sitwell getting the chop.
The veganism trend has been amazing, and is definitely here.
We're
to
all
stay.
vegans now, aren't we?
Yeah, I also thought, the William Sitwell thing was just really a story of our times. I was amazed at what happened. How, an unfortunate email which he obviously regrets.
It can't just have been on that.
Well,
it can't have.
But it wasn't it times at the time where Waitrose were bringing out a vegan range?
I think Waitrose are very sensitive, and they're going big on that whole vegan and vegetarian range.
You can't underestimate the power of a big business and its image.
This kind of mock outrage, but I think there is a kind of sort of generational divide. We had this debate in our office, and I was sort of saying, "What on earth is going on?" And I ended up feeling a bit like the old man, because everyone was going, "Well, you just can't say that. It's just, completely unacceptable."
But also, they've now got everyone has got so many avenues to be, outraged.
Yeah.
You'll be outraged in a second.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Well, talking about outrage, posh, inverted commas.
Well, not being with the Spice Girls.
Restaurant, that is an outrage.
I mean, that was an outrage.
Restaurant critics coming into our wee sector.
Oh,
you first, sir.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can say something sensible after me, but it just feels a bit lazy. And going for the cheap shots.
The Jamie's one was. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of
painful.
vicious, wasn't it? So obviously, we're talking about Marina at the Sunday Times, and I think she got stuck into Jamie's and Weatherspoon, and it just feels a bit unnecessary, and actually that's missing the point of what these businesses are about.
I did admire our English in terms of being so right on the the Spanglish and then the Italian English and and even with the apostrophe, like
Some of her observations.
My command of English is, and she's I think from Glasgow too. She's obviously a much better education than I have, but yeah, I was actually just, regardless who it was about.
I mean, there was a great read,
and the detail was.
I think.
But Grace Dentlow.
I think
she's great.
I think the fact
really
is it's an easy target. It's a kind of, what, I think I'll have a week off. I think I'm going to just do Café Rouge because it's an easy win. No one, if they came out and actually said I had a good time at Café Rouge, it would be more surprising than the fact they'd have a go at it.
I just can't bear the kind of snobbery, and it's sort of like, oh, ha ha ha.
This is something that's got 90 sites. It's not someone who spent 4 hours coming up with something that's probably the size of a pea that you're going to eat.
But it isn't
12 people in the kitchen.
You've got to recalibrate your thinking.
It isn't Brat, it isn't St Leonard's, But I was thinking about it earlier, and my sort of analogy or whatever you want to say would be like, it's like John Peel reviewing Little Mix's latest album, right? And it's just they're operating in two different stratospheres.
Yeah, it just jars, doesn't it?
And I think
what do you think Stuart McConey would say about
the one that stands out?
The Spice Girls return concert. Kill Surprise.
The one that stands out.
Yeah,
like,
shoot me now.
I think the one that stands out is maybe Jamie's, because it's kind of a unique thing that he is so high profile. So you kind of take that as part of the territory, but still. It's not him in the kitchen of everyone.
And also, we all know that everyone has bad days, and I think if they visit and you're having a bad day, then you're basically tarnishing that brand to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of readers. And
it was also like the CVA cases. It was like, right, I'll mention. I think I did a piece saying, editor goes to reporter, right, go out, mention Strada, Prezzo, whatever. Byron, Jamie's, and tell me why the casual dining's rubbish, and do it in 300 words, please.
Yeah. And also in her piece about,
is that what goes on?
There was a raft of
like the formula
comments, yeah.
And also in that piece about Jamie's, she actually, I felt, belittled the fact that he had put £12 million of his own money back into that business,
and it's no small sum, because he's not a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
He's self-made.
A big chunk of his.
He's on the hook for, no matter how much he's got, like 12 million, he could have just walked away.
So a couple of other things then, just before we let Mr. Wingett go, because I know he needs to go. So just skipping through, we had Gregory and Gregory.
That was just
That was
amazing.
probably up there with the KFC bucket.
Genius.
That was delicious.
Genius.
You know,
Yeah.
just I mean, it's an
Magnificent.
old trick though. To
Yeah.
be fair, you know, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Aldi and stuff have used
Yeah.
it before.
I think the execution
old
was
trick.
really
I was
good.
going to say the old trick,
Yeah.
but executed brilliantly.
And
So-
good on that food fair for letting them do
Just
it
for
as well.
Greg's, by the way, if
Keen-
anyone
keen
doesn't
on.
know, but check it out on
And their food-
on YouTube.
And their food looks really, really good, and I love the way they're just challenging those perceptions.
Greg's is a great brand.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's brilliant.
it's still going.
Yeah.
And then a couple of last things. Market halls. It seems that if you want your car park to be a success, you just call it
A market
halls, yards,
I think I'm
whatever.
gonna-
that's
Food
it.
quarter.
I'm
Yeah.
really slightly controversial. But I'm slightly underwhelmed. Maybe, like Mark says, maybe it's a different generation. I'm getting old and getting a bit grumpy, but I get it. There's some great food. I went to the Victoria one the other day, and it's pretty much you could sit there and everyone from the sector would walk in. Property agents, investors, all walking
Is
around
everyone
having a look.
checking it
Yeah,
out?
we check it out.
Yeah.
And I get it, and it's a brilliant location because, you know, I know a lot of the journalists who work in our trade work or either come through that station and will be in there and it'll get a lot of
Attention.
write-ups and attention.
I walked past it. I mean, I have to say, it looked good, but I haven't been in yet.
So I've been to Mackie Mare. And what they do well is a bit more populist. It's a bit more. We're not going to have the next best thing. We're not going to have to really bust the gut to get the best bao in there, the best dumpling, the best
Sort of crowd pleasers.
Yeah, the crowd pleasers.
Yeah.
We're just going to do something that's going to be future proof for the next year, 2 years.
Mm.
And we're not. And I do wonder about some of this stuff is a bit too much.
Yeah.
But that's London.
I think Jonathan Downey has. I mean, I love Jonathan. I think what he's
Sure.
done is amazing. I think they create an occasion and experience which wasn't there before. I think it's probably hugely disruptive to anyone, obvious to say, who trades around.
Well,
one of these-
Nova. How disruptive is that? It's to Nova.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, everyone who spent all that money going into Nova, you know, Greenwood, you know, Ollie and Steen,
Greenwood's
Jason Atherton,
stunning though, right?
Greenwood's
but
great.
Jason Atherton, you know, all those people who've gone into that space.
Yeah, there's a lot of space there.
And now you've got people who has to get past market halls to get to that space.
So, I think that's us.
Thank you,
I
Mark.
think we've done quite well. Super last shout out to Annabelle's Christmas tree this year as well, which was just quite incredible.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Mark.
3 bottles of wine, many, many pints of London Pride, etc.
Yeah, I just hope it's vaguely listenable.
Yeah, Gaz will sort that out.
So Gaz has got it down to 2 minutes for us going.
So,
Good evening, good night, God bless.
Not as funny as you thought it would be.
yeah, not as many.
Well,
many
that first
jokes.
bit was quite serious, wasn't it?
But I think it's a well-respected review of what's been going on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get sued by someone.
Yeah, you are. It's nothing. Yeah, there's no responsibility to the
Where was the
spectacular
retainer?
marketing
Where was the retainer I
podcast.
should have signed?
So we've been the wise
Yeah.
marks.
Yeah, we've been the Wise Marks, and yeah, just Merry Christmas, listeners, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers. So there you go. That was part 2 of our 2-part Drunk Cast series. Thanks again to Fuller's and Beautiful Bedrooms for their hospitality. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope that's given you some great thoughts and ideas about what you might be able to do to increase your chances of growing your business and standing out from the competition in 2019. Thanks again to Mark Stretton from Fleet Street Communications and Mark Wingett, ex-editor-at-large at MCA, and we'll look forward to his spiky tweets and also what he's going to be doing in 2019, which will be really exciting to see. Thanks again to everyone who's listened, subscribed and shared in 2018, and I look forward to bringing you more valuable content in 2019 with our wonderful guests. Thanks again to Gaz, Gabby and Mahal for all their hard work in putting this together. I'm Mark McCulloch, and this was spectacular.